Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It is a Tuesday. It is a February Tuesday. It's February 3rd, 2015. The stock futures are up a little bit here. Overnight, we were down over 0.5%. Have recovered those losses and headed higher. But if you look at the market in 2015, it's throw the V bottom out the window, buy the dip. It's all about these massive spikes and declines. It's been a lot of volatility. You can look even yesterday's trading session. We were down over 100 Dow Jones Industrial Average component points out of the gate. Recovered some of those losses. Looked like we were going to pull back down again, and then we had a last minute look at this candle to the upside. A really strong move in stock futures overnight. We're pulling back over 0.5%, and then out of nowhere, we just see the buying start up again. We're pulling back a little bit here now as I speak, about an hour and a half before the market's going to open for trade. The S&P 500 ETF, the Spiders, is down 0.6% from its highs up here. You can see the heavier volume coming in. So something to keep an eye on. We have the Australians coming out lowering their interest rate, which is against the dollar. Cross is putting down to a 140 pip move to the downside. It's since recovered some of its losses as a commodity-based currency that is reliant upon gold. You look copper. Gold has actually been coming back, but if you look, this bodes well as we see currencies throughout the globe, central banks trying to devalue their currency. And then we have here in the U.S. the taper ending. We have QE ending. Interest rates supposedly starting to rise at some point, which I don't think is going to happen. I still continue to see deflation as more of a threat than anything else. But if you look at the U.S. dollar index, just off of not record highs, but 10-year highs just about. You see it's been a great move since the summer, coinciding with the drop in oil. If you look, crude oil started its swoon just about this time. If you want to bring up a chart for the U.S. dollar index, crude oil was up here and it pretty much did an X. Now we're getting crude oil starting to bounce. You look at this morning, crude oil is continuing to build on the gains that it saw in the previous trading sessions, over 50. You can see it's up another 2.5%. I brought this up last night in my update, the fact that we could see a bottom here. This is the strongest reversal since it started its decline back in the summer of 2014. It's missed out on the biggest rally, I think, since 2012 on crude oil. So we'll see where those head. S&P 500 futures, again, pulling back a little bit. Let's look at some individual names because individual names continue to work in this marketplace. Overnight, we had some of the 3D names get hit with SSYS coming out with terrible guidance. Look, it closed at 80.08, and look where it is right now. It's down significantly, hit a low of 57 there. It's just about at those levels. JP Morgan Chase, I believe, is out this morning kind of defending the stock, saying, hey, you know what? All the negativity is priced in at these levels. This could be a good buy the dip opportunity. I'd wait for the dust to sell a little bit, but I kind of agree there. And it's taking down names like DDD with it, which closed up 4% yesterday. 30.25 highs of the day, it pretty much closed at. Look at the decline here. Another name that could see a bounce, but again, no rush. Wait for the dust to settle. Let's look at earnings reports. Disney reports earnings after the bell today. And look at this candle. Really nice hammer there. Was trying to break the 90 level, reverse course. This morning is up over to almost $93. So I actually bought some calls, put that trade that I bought into the Option Millionaires private Twitter account, and those are going to look pretty good this morning, especially heading into the close when we're going to see premiums start to ramp up into the earnings report as people position themselves for a possible move to record levels for Disney. Measles is bullish. Looks like all the amusement parks are going to start having measles-themed play dates so that we can just boost EPS through the roof there because measles is bullish. Now, analysts came out yesterday, upgraded the stock, moved the target to 120. Wow. I mean, it seems just like yesterday when the stock was at 40 bucks, just 2 years ago. Look at that, just at 50 bucks. Man, I'm getting old. Time really flies. So look at some other names here. Wynn Resorts after the bell. Wynn Resorts, Macau revenue continues to decline, but I think the stock has bottomed here. I look at the chart and I say, oh, well, maybe this is putting in some sort of a bear flag. We made the move from 245, but I look across, I see support here. If you draw a trend line across from June 2013 all the way across, support here at about the 139 level. Pulling back, we're consolidating here in some sort of a channel, and I think the move's going to be like this. Up, and I think 180 is coming. Let's look at some other names that are reporting earnings this week. Twitter. Now, if you look at Twitter, its previous earnings report had a nasty gap down. That was back at the end of 2014. If you look earlier in the summer, had a gap up from this exact level. Twitter reports earnings after the bell on Thursday. I'm looking for a move to the upside. I also bought calls in this name in anticipation of such a move. The calls are pretty expensive. If you want to go near the money, if you want to go out of the money in a more high risk trade, remember back then it went from this level up to almost $50, so you can get the 45s pretty cheap here. Another name I'm looking at here off last week's collapse is Yahoo. Yahoo! We have the gap down. I'm looking for this gap to get filled. More often than not, it's going to get filled. We had the big move down 42. Yahoo is up a little bit, a couple clicks today. And I'm looking for a move up to 46.50. I have the 45s at 37 cents, but those also in the Option Millionaires private Twitter account. Caterpillar, looking at that name, I called for this swoon when it was at $100 just a mere couple months ago in December. I said that was probably the last time we're going to see it over $100 for a while, and look at the decline it's had. It's really going to kill here. But if you pull across where it's strong support, that $80 figure, just so tantalizing. I'm not sure if it's going to break it, at least in the short term here. I think this gap, again, another gap I think is going to get filled, is this gap. So I'm looking to get calls here in Caterpillar. Even though I think there's a possibility the long-term prognostication outlook is still decidedly bearish on the name, as long as commodities and the U.S. dollar continue to go the way they're going. Look at another name, FCX, which was also declining last week. It was not around last week. Look at this. This is one of those stocks I talked about many times over the last couple of years, how it was going to fall dramatically, and indeed it has, hitting new recent lows it hasn't seen since the financial crisis in 2009. Analyst came out this morning and changed its rating from buy, which was up here, to neutral. They're like, all right, all of those 60% losses you're sitting on, just hold them. Everything's going to be fine and dandy, which may well be the fact down the road, but I'm not so sure about that. I look at FCX and I look at this as a stock that is going to continue to see weakness, and we might flag a little bit here. I'm actually looking for a little bit of a bounce. Looking for a move maybe up to 20, consolidate, put in a nice flag. We're going to continue down to the 2009 lows, which bring us into single digits. Yeah, you heard it here second. USO is bouncing, crude oil, and I like to see a little bit of stabilization here, which would mean we don't have to worry about all those defaults in the energy sector. That's the big key, which is going to help the banking sector, and that's why I think some of the names, as oil rallies, JP Morgan Chase was up significantly yesterday. Look at a nice candle. Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo. Look at Goldman Sachs' sharp move. Goldman Sachs is going to continue that, gapping up here this morning. So we look at the financials. That's helping the financials. You want to see that? We'll also see TLT, the bond market. Just take the foot off the gas a little bit. Just relax. And TLT is doing just that, down over $1 this morning. It's at 136.40. We're an hour and a half before the market's going to open for trade. All right, video is getting a little long in the tooth. Finally, we go to GDX. I brought this up before. And you pull up my drawings. Hello. Let me just see. Go across. There it is. All right, I'm looking for GDX to, just like I am for FCX, a nice little short-term bounce up to this level before continuing its swoon, although we're getting a little bit overbought. All right, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. I'll see you in the chat room. Earnings reports this week. Disney, Twitter, Wynn Resorts. We have CMG as well. I mean, you go through it. There's a lot of earnings reports continuing this week, and I think they're going to be pretty lucrative if you're in the right position. All right, I'll see you in the chat room. Everyone have a great trading session. Goodbye.